everybody, and welcome to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Beatrice Arthur. I'm Dorothy from the Golden Girls.
Yay! And I'm a Golden
And you're a
Girl.
Golden Girl too.
Yeah.
No, why? Yeah, you've seen you've seen my this scarf before.
Oh
What's so different about my appearance?
I know. I've seen it a billion times.
Guys are
Yeah.
going blurry while
Yeah.
through these. I got these at the Woolworths.
Oh.
Paid a whole $3 for it.
Oh wow.
No. Anyway, why are we dressed this way?
Because it's a very special day. A friend of ours is
Yeah.
having a birthday today,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be going out as the Golden Girls theme.
Yeah.
So
Our,
that's the reason why we're dressed up.
our
So
friend Naomi, who co-starred in the theater, is having a party today. I mean, she doesn't know it, but it's already happened, but it hasn't happened yet.
right, yeah,
So that's why you're seeing this after the fact.
right,
But what happened was it's her favorite show is The Golden Girls.
yes,
So we are we the department is a costume party, and we're dressed as the Golden Girls. And there must be about 100, 200 people at this party, and they're all going to be dressed as the Golden Girls.
yes,
And I found out the Golden Girls not that hard to dress like.
right,
They, you know, they you wear a pantsuit,
pantsuit,
you wear funny glasses,
yes,
and then you act sarcastic and insulting and
right,
funny, and that's how you do it.
yeah,
Yes. And so, yeah, I remember somebody told me, I was living in Europe for a few years, and somebody told me there's a really funny show called The Golden Girls you got to watch. And I said, I don't
yeah,
want to watch it. Was it a pretty girls on it? Well, they're pretty if you like 70, 80-year-old women. And I said, okay. So
right,
then I said, oh, there's Maud.
yeah.
There's Maud's neighbor on the show, and then there
Edith
was
Bunker.
no, Edith was not on the Golden Girls. And then there was
Oh,
that was who became Blanche, Rue McClanahan.
yeah,
And then there was Betty White, of course.
right, of course.
Betty White. And then there was the fourth one who nobody. The other three you might have known from other shows, but
Sophia,
Estelle, yeah, the old
Estelle
lady.
Getty.
Well, Estelle Getty was actually older, was actually younger
Uh,
than Beatrice Arthur, but playing her mother. But they made her all out to look older.
yeah,
So
that I was kind of meaning like
yeah,
Edith from All in the Family was Maud's cousin.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry for the confusion, people.
I guess I wonder if she ever appeared on the Golden Girls. What's her name? Jean Stapleton.
Yeah,
But they had a lot of guest stars. I
right.
remember. I think Sophia had a boyfriend on there. Mickey Rooney was
Oh
was
yeah.
on there. I think Leslie Nielsen. I think got married
Yes,
to. I think Betty.
Dorothy.
She got married to somebody at the end of the last episode. They ended it with
Dorothy
her
got married to
Leslie Nielsen
Leslie
from the
Nielsen.
Police Academy movies,
Yeah.
Police Squad movies, and then you saw all these guest stars. There's one guest star. It's kind of cruel to say this, but I'll say it anyway.
Yeah. Right.
There was a guy called James Karen who's an actor in a lot of
Yeah.
movies. He was a friend of Chaplin. He was a friend of Buster Keaton and everything. And you saw him in a lot of TV shows. You'd recognize. You may not know the name, but you'd recognize him if you saw him. And he is on an episode of The Golden Girls where Dorothy is having an affair with some guy, but she wants to keep it a secret.
Oh.
And when all the Golden Girls left, it's by a surprise. He grabs her and they kiss on the lips. And everyone goes, woo, woo, woo. Dorothy's got a boyfriend. Dorothy's got a boyfriend. And I was sitting with somebody and he said, yeah, I hope they gave that actor extra money that week to kiss Dorothy on the lips. Combat pay.
There's the last episode of the Golden Girls when Dorothy was getting ready to get married to Uncle Lucas, which is Blanche's uncle.
Yeah.
That was Leslie Nielsen. So anyway,
Yeah.
Sophia comes up to them and she snaps a picture
Yeah.
at the last minute,
Yeah.
and she was like, "I just love you too."
I remember Estelle Getty. She would appear on talk shows, and she was younger looking than she is on the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
and she and then whenever they had a flashback to like when she was young or something, they
Yeah.
just she didn't have to wear the white hair and everything. She just
Yeah.
looked like her normal self.
Yeah.
Estelle Getty was I think a Broadway actress. I didn't realize at the time, but years later I found out Estelle Getty was in the movie Mask with Cher and
Yeah.
and Eric Stoltz, the kid with
Right.
the facial disfiguration.
She also
She played the
played.
grandmother. She played the grandmother, but that was before the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And also, even if you recognized her, you wouldn't recognize her from the Golden
She
Girls because
also played with Sylvester Stallone too.
yeah, shoot, stop or my mother will shoot or
Yes.
something. Kind of a
Yes.
silly movie.
It's hilarious.
It's funny, yeah. But I think Stallone wanted to change of pace by having Estelle Getty in that movie. Anyway, so we're all dressed as the Golden Girls. The Golden Girls is a very funny show.
Yes, it is. I love the
Almost
Golden
every time
Girls.
I watch a show, I learn one or two new insults to level against somebody.
Right.
And any
Right.
show that provides one or
Yes.
two insults that you could use in your real life
Yeah.
against someone you don't like,
Yeah.
or to admonish somebody.
I used to watch it with my grandfather and my mom when they were living. They used to love the Golden Girls.
Yeah, the Golden Girl. Yeah, you don't. It's one of those shows that you
Right.
think, oh, I don't want to watch this, and then you watch it, and it's so good. It's so funny.
I like the episode when they're on that game show, Grab That Dough. It
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
Grab that dough.
Oh
Grab
yeah.
that dough.
I know.
And then they lost. And then they were like all mad at each other or something.
Yeah. The Beatrice Arthur is very. I always think of her as like
Right.
the linchpin of the show,
Uh-huh.
and of course people earlier knew her as Maud. So
Yes.
actually, for the first few
Right.
years of the Golden Girls, I called her Maud. I didn't call her
There's,
Dorothy.
there's also another episode that I
Yeah.
liked when her and Dorothy were in the museum.
Hmm.
Blanche and Dorothy were in the museum
Yeah.
together. They worked together. And then Blanche got so mad at Dorothy
Yeah.
because they thought they were going to honor Dorothy instead of Blanche.
Yeah.
But when Blanche and Dorothy came home, Sophia was like, "They're doing it in your honor, Blanche."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was I know that Beatrice Arthur. I found out some
Right.
things about Beatrice Arthur. She was married. She's mainly from Broadway, and she had quite a life. She
Yeah,
was
I knew that.
she
Yeah.
was in the she was in the Women's Army Corps, a WAC. She was in the World War II.
Oh.
I don't think she was in combat, but she actually is a veteran.
Yeah.
Beatrice Arthur also was married for a long time to a very famous director in Broadway, Gene
Oh.
Saks, who
Oh,
you see
yeah.
in he directed some movies too,
Yeah.
with Matthew Broderick, Neil Simon, a lot of Neil Simon stuff. Also, Beatrice Arthur, you could hear her as Yenta the Matchmaker in on the album, the original Broadway cast of Fiddler on the Roof. So
Oh, okay.
she was always there. She's also in Mame with a few people, but the movie had Lucille Ball, and
Yeah.
she played pretty much the same part she played in all the other versions of Mame. Yeah.
Also, she had two sons.
She had two sons. Yeah.
And I think one of her sons played on the Golden Girls with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was her real son or something.
Quentin Tarantino is famous. Made his acting
Right.
debut on the Golden Girls when they needed all these Elvis impersonators,
Yeah.
and they told them just to dress up like Elvis.
Right.
That's what they do with extras. Sometimes they say, just wear what you can scrounge up. We'll provide. If we don't like it, we'll give you some tips or something.
Right.
So what was kind of neat about Quentin's, they always show it on talk shows when Quentin appears on it. He has no dialogue. He's just an extra, but you see him dressed as Elvis among like maybe 8 Elvis impersonators, and he's the only one dressed as the young Elvis, while everyone else is dressed as the older Elvis with the white bedazzled suits and everything, while he's dressed like the 1950s Elvis, which is weird because when I went as Elvis for Halloween once, and I went as the young Elvis. And what's kind of neat about dressing as the young or going as the young Elvis is that, for one thing, you're older than the young Elvis, because usually the young Elvis is only about 20 years old, 22 years old. But and I was like probably in my 30s or 40s when I did it. And then the other thing about it is that if so many people like the young Elvis over the old Elvis, in like when they had the stamp, you actually could vote. Do you want the young Elvis stamp or the old Elvis stamp? And the young Elvis stamp won. but why are all the Elvis impersonators dressed as the old Elvis?
Yeah, I know.
He says, well, they look like the old Elvis. They don't look like the
Right.
young. It's very hard to pull off the young Elvis if you're
Yes.
an Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, speaking of the Elvis thing, there was an episode of Golden Girl
Yeah.
where Sophia married this guy that she's known for
Yeah.
several years.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, Rose sent the wrong invitation.
Yeah.
And then all the Elvises were like singing, Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
That must be the episode. That must be the episode.
That was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, enough yammering about the Golden Girls, even though you can't really get away from
Right.
it the
Yeah.
way we're dressed.
It's a good show.
It's a
So,
good show,
yeah.
yeah. And it's you can always watch it. It's still
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
There's one show that I don't think they'll ever remake. I mean, who are they going to get? They get Betty White again, but that's
Right.
about it.
Yeah. Betty White's been on a lot of stuff too.
They a lot of these shows they come back together, and sadly, the three of the four are gone.
Yeah.
And but Betty White's still around.
Yeah.
And who's the oldest?
And she's
Weird.
like 100 years old
She's
almost.
close to 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'll be 100 this year.
In January.
Yeah. And anyway, a lot of these reboots don't really work out so well because, like, for example, they asked the producer of Everybody Loves Raymond, are they going to reboot Everybody Loves Raymond with all the cast back? He goes, what type of cast? One of the children is gone. The parents are gone.
Yeah.
All that's left is pretty much that of any interest is Raymond, his wife, and the brother, the policeman. And they said, what? How are we going to do the first episode? They come back from the funeral. What type of comedy is that?
Like, yeah, there are some shows that are like that. They're not the same as they were like years ago.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Give Me a Break.
Give me a break.
And all the three of the girls were gone.
Yeah.
And then, episodes later, they just showed the little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it was as good anymore as it was back,
They brought back Give Me a Break?
Well, I mean, they didn't bring it back, but it was still the same time frame.
Yeah.
But the girls left and went to college.
Yeah.
And then, she took she moved out. She moved to New York, took care of the little boy.
Yeah.
And her friend Addie was, living with her and all that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. I mean, it's a good show.
Yeah. The original.
Yeah, the original.
Well, the original was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Nell Carter.
Yeah, Nell Carter.
Yeah.
I love Nell Carter.
Dolph Sweet.
Yeah, I like him.
There's a really good episode where they meet Don Rickles and they just insult each other.
Yeah, I saw that.
Anything with Don Rickles is fun.
I like Don Rickles.
Yeah, Don, or we called him when we were kids, Don Wrinkles. Don Rain. That's what we thought his name was. So anyway, we talk about television a lot and stuff. Yeah, I don't watch believe it or not, the 1980s.
Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of those sitcoms except the Golden Girls.
Yes.
Because the other ones, they actually brought them. There's actually a lot of local channels like Laugh TV and Me TV and stuff, and they show a lot of those, and I miss them, and then I watch maybe 20 minutes of it. I don't want to watch any more of this stuff.
I love the 1980s shows.
You like those ones?
And the 1970s.
It all goes to show you what you were young and what you liked,
Yeah.
And I guess I like the shows.
Yeah.
What shows did I like? I like a lot of variety shows.
Yeah.
That's why I like being on this show, the Variety Hour.
Yes.
Those 1960s variety shows I used to like. I still like to watch them when they come on.
Yeah.
And
I
almost
love
every
the 1960s
major,
too.
but when you think about the 1960s, you think of hippies and the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and stuff. But the variety shows from the 1960s, like the Carol Burnett show, they were still pretty much. They could have been the 1950s.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that there was nothing really hip about them, but they were kind of cool. Some shows tried to be a little different, like the Smothers Brothers show, with their humor, anti-establishment humor.
Yeah.
But do you ever watch the Food Network?
Sometimes, yes.
Have you? Okay, I gotta ask you a question about the Food Network. You know what the Food Network is? It's porno for fat people.
Yeah. It's cooking shows on it.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's food.
Yeah.
It's food. It objectifies food. Now, when you watch a food show, on the Food Network, I mean, a show, not a food, they're all food shows.
Yeah.
When you watch a show on the Food Network or any of those eating networks,
Mhm.
have you ever like followed a recipe from there, or do you just watch it for entertainment? Because people actually claim, oh, it's an entertaining show, but I've never done anything on the show.
I do copy some stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, what did you copy?
I kind of copied like I could add chicken to a soup or something like
Okay.
that.
Oh, that's okay.
Or,
I have to watch a whole network to figure that.
yeah, but I pretty much pick up my own.
What is this noodle soup missing?
I pretty much make my own recipes.
Yeah.
So, I love to cook. So.
You know, cooking is. I had a friend who's a chef, and he lived. Actually, I lived above a restaurant,
Yeah.
and that's how I got to know the guy.
Uh-huh.
And then he's still a friend of mine, and we're trying to figure out about cooking, and he told me that with great ingredients, anyone could be a cook. In fact, being a cook is kind of easy. It's actually there's a recipe and you follow the recipe. You get hired at a restaurant.
Yes.
There's maybe a head chef or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he already knows what the people want or what he wants the people to eat or something. And basically, he teaches you how to cook like him. And it's very hard to because a lot of times you have to disclose secret ingredients, what makes certain things taste better.
Yeah.
And then that in restaurant staff is famous for going to other restaurants and say, well, at the at the at the Cordon Bleu Paris, they taught us to put cheese on top of the chicken because that's a great idea. We never thought of that, and then they do it, and then they may do it better than the other place.
Yeah.
And that guy, and the original chef, is so mad. He goes, "Hey, they stole my idea." Yeah. Well, my friend told me that being a great chef, good ingredients, anyone could be a chef. Everything tastes good. But he told me that a really great chef can take stuff that they take the simplest stuff and make it taste great. Like for example, Thanksgiving. Everyone, Thanksgiving dinners aren't all that different from each other. You go to one person's house, they have the same chicken and three bean casserole and the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on them and everything. But a chef will figure out a way to make that three bean casserole better than anyone you've ever had, or better that turkey better than anyone you've ever had, or the baked ham or something, or the cranberry. Well, cranberry sauce is cranberry sauce. But and he said, and that's the trick. And he said, and it takes experience. It takes a lot of learning too. You have to apprentice with a chef. You have to learn all these things. And you have to work at a lot of restaurants and pick up a little bit though. I don't like the idea that he always put ketchup on meatloaf. I'm going to use barbecue sauce or something. Oh, or if you're going to use barbecue sauce, I'm going to use A1 or what? See, or Bullseye or Heinz 57 or something. Figure out a way. And basically, all of barbecue sauce is what, ketchup and then brown sugar, and then a variation on that. So he told me that, and then I realized it. So how do you figure this out? He goes, it's basically like being a scientist. You have to um, make a lot of bad cakes before you make the good one. And you have to give it to your friends and say, do you like this? For free. You become quite popular because you invite all these people to your house to feed them. But you always ask for their feedback, and I was for a while. We had so many chefs at this restaurant downstairs that I lived at that I actually became a pizza critic, I guess. Because how could this pizza be better? I said, well, put a little more oregano in it, or put a little less oregano, or why does it have to be so salty? That type of thing. So when you work at home, you like that. Now you watch these cooking shows. Now, is there any like chefs you like?
There's the Pioneer Woman.
The Pioneer Woman.
There's.
Tell me about her. See, I don't know any about
her name is Ree Drummond.
Okay.
And she's like a cook. She's like a lady that lives on a farm like a farmstead type of person that likes to cook. She makes all kinds of stuff. Mac and cheese. What else does she do? She does all kinds of stuff. And she's really good. And she also has some products that she sells in stores,
Hmm.
like pots and pans, and she even makes her own spaghetti sauce.
Yeah.
I tried that before, and they're really good.
Yeah. How did you? What's spaghetti sauce? It's tomato paste and meatballs. And what did she tell you to do? That
She
extra je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, I just buy her salsa sometimes and just put it on my spaghetti.
Oh, is that simple?
Well,
Well, I opened up the cap. And
she has she sells her own sauce in stores
the
now.
hardest part
At
about
Wal-
hardest
Especially at Walmart.
fixing this tomato sauce was opening the cap. My hands are kind of weak. Other than that, it was I just followed the directions. Open cap, pour on spaghetti.
Yes. And yeah, I like her. She's like my favorite.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of spaghetti, my friend, actually, I'll tell you his name. His name's Mitch Lammers, and he's quite the cook. He's like a brilliant cook. And he told me, I asked, I always ask him questions about food, and I said, why is spaghetti? He mentioned spaghetti. Why is spaghetti never always tastes better at home? It never tastes so good in a restaurant. And he says the reason why the sauce might be fine, but the spaghetti itself is kind of terrible, or limp or soft or mushy. And he said because they let it boil all day long. He says the best way to do it, this is if you're making a lot of spaghetti for a lot of people, is don't even really have the spaghetti cook for very long.
yeah,
I mean, 7 minutes is actually plenty.
yeah,
But if it's boiling on a pot all day long,
yeah,
yeah, I think if you boil, I'm not sure about this, but I think if you boil spaghetti long enough over several hours,
yeah.
it'll just dissolve in the flour
Right,
because that's
right.
all it really is.
Yeah,
And he said the best thing to do is actually take the spaghetti and just throw it in there. The last thing you do is
right,
the spaghetti while you're
right,
getting the plates ready and
right.
the place settings, everything. Then you can
Yeah.
then you could cook the spaghetti and make
Yes.
and he actually had there was something called like a bamboo crisper that they were selling
Right.
on television a few years ago, how to
Yeah.
make vegetables kind of uh,
Yeah.
uh, al dente, which is to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
teeth,
Right.
and he said you could actually cook spaghetti in that, and it'd be perfect. In
Mm.
fact, not even boil it in water, have it just the steam coming up, and over
Oh,
I don't
that's
know over
interesting.
20, I don't
Okay.
know 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't know
Oh.
how long it is,
Okay.
but it'll get to the right thing, and a lot of really good
Wow.
restaurants do that.
Oh wow.
And their spaghetti is famous for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so do you like Gordon Ramsay?
He's good,
That's the only one I know.
but sometimes he can be a little rude. Sometimes, like he has a show called Hell's Kitchen,
Hmm.
and he yells at like every single person that doesn't do anything right. And then he has a temper. He cusses and everything. He's like, "Doggone, how dare you do this?"
Yeah, like it's the end of the world.
Yeah. He like slams everything down and everything. It's a mess.
It's I gotta tell you the that's all a presentation. No one would ever want to work with that guy
I
unless.
wouldn't want to work with him.
Well, I think that's the point.
Heck
You
no.
watch. I think it's one of those shows you watch and says, "I feel sorry." I feel sorry for the people who work for him.
Yeah, I know.
But then he probably, when the camera's on, he's probably a nice guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's popular. He's evidently a
Yeah.
good chef, but he's British, right? He has a
Yeah.
British
I think
accent.
he's Scottish, I think.
Scottish, okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, probably makes sense. But then he's and yet I've been to Scotland. They're the nicest people in the world.
I would love to go to Scotland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In fact, I was in Liverpool
Uh-huh.
and Wales and Scotland. I kind of ventured out of England for a
Mhm.
while, and I went there, and the people, I mean English people, I mean Londoners. I was basically around. They were so nice in Liverpool and in Wales and in Scotland.
Mhm.
They they were friendly, and the in Liverpool
Mhm.
it was really weird because a man would start talking to you. He'd see you were lost and he'd start talking to you, and then he'd keep talking to you, and then you start to think he's kind of a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you say, well, thank you so much, and then you talk, and then you start talking to someone else, another man, and he's the
Right.
same way, and then
Right.
you realize, oh, this is the way the people are.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
very nice. This is in Liverpool now. Liverpool, of course, very little is known in celebrities and everything
Yeah.
about Liverpool until
Right.
the Beatles.
Yeah.
The Beatles were from Liverpool. They weren't
Yes.
Londoners. They weren't
They're
other.
from Liverpool. I
They're,
know that.
they were from
Yeah.
Liverpool, and the Beatles' appeal was that they never lost their accent. That's how way people in Liverpool talk. It's almost like an Irish accent.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you see on the if you see on the map, there's a ferry that goes from Dublin to Liverpool all the time. So a lot of people there are of Irish descent, so they have a lot of like
Yes.
parents that are
Yes.
in the day, so the accent became that way. They have this sort of D's, dems, does. They don't really pronounce their THs that much.
Uh-huh.
so I have a feeling the reason why the Beatles were so popular and so for other reasons,
Mhm.
but their appeal was that they had that they were they were friendly like the Liverpool Pudlians are.
Right.
After that, a lot of people from Liverpool made famous Cilla Black and
Oh yeah, I love Cilla Black.
Jerry and the Pacemakers and all these other. I think they're from Liverpool.
Yeah.
And then so then there's so what I just said. A lot of those people, when they immigrated to Canada
Mhm.
and New York City. So that part of that accent became kind of like that.
Mhm.
Now in Canada, the place was called Acadia. Acadia, they moved to New Orleans.
Mhm.
The people that originally immigrated from that area to Canada eventually, for some reason, moved to New Orleans, and they were given the pejorative of Acadians, Cajuns. Okay, and Cajun or people from New Orleans have sort of the same sort of voice. So you have all these people with different accents. I met Harry Connick, who is from there and from New Orleans, and he couldn't understand. A lot of people think he's from New York because of his New York sort of sounding accent, but
Right.
he's actually from. And I actually told what I just said to you. I told him that,
Yeah.
and he said I never knew that. So here's something I got to teach a big
Right.
star. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Harry Connick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm off the track.
Mhm.
Now, about Gordon Ramsay. Uh, that shows all I think entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's but they have some really weird shows. Sometimes they don't even they show you how they make a lot. There's a show called Carnival Eats where they show you all this food you can get at like state fairs and stuff,
Mhm.
and it says and you don't I don't know why they always say, oh, this is delicious. And they'll say, we take a pound cake and then we deep fry it in chicken grease and then we put ice cream on top of it, and then here, and this is what
Wow.
everyone wants at the Wisconsin State Fair or something, and then
Yeah.
and then they'll show people eating it. Oh, this is the
Yeah.
best I've ever.
Yeah.
I can't eat this
Yeah.
garbage. I'm a health nut.
Yeah.
I don't even think even when I was a kid I would eat. When I was a kid I would eat anything, any junk there was I would eat. I mean,
Yeah. Me too.
we were talking about the other day about food. We were talking. A friend of mine said that when you're a kid, everything you eat or want to eat is sweet.
Mhm.
You know, you might eat some salty food like potato chips or French fries or pretzels, but or Cheetos. But everything else is sweet. We do not, and if it's not sweet, it kind of like milk or
Mhm.
even water. If you're thirsty enough, tastes kind of sweet.
Mhm.
But you don't want to drink anything bitter. That's why when you're a kid and you drink black coffee for the first time, it tastes awful.
Yeah.
When you drink wine for the first time or beer, and you see these commercials where people are drinking and lifting up the pint of beer and stuff and
Mhm.
drinking it, and you say, oh man, I can't wait to be of age so I can drink that delicious looking
Right.
stuff, and then you
Yeah.
drink it's the worst taste you've ever had in your mouth.
Yeah. Wow.
In fact, some people actually said, I actually had to say this. Why do adults? I said this as a kid. Why do adults drink so much alcohol when it tastes so bad? Because the taste we get over the taste, like drinking medicine. We'll get
Yeah.
for what it does for you when you kind of you breathe this
Right.
this rarefied air that it doesn't taste bad anymore.
Yeah.
When I was in college, we used to drink this beer. Canadian beer was very popular, Molson and
Mm.
Moosehead, and went down very smooth, more smoother than the American beers like Budweiser or Coors or this one called Stroh's, which was
Wow.
very Miller High Life. Stroh's, and you would drink it, when you're a teenager, or when you're in college, you say, "Oh, I'm Mr. Big Shot. I get to drink, or I am allowed to drink now." But I think the reason why the Canadian beer was so popular in the day was because it went down smoother. It didn't taste great, but it tastes better.
I think Strokes used to be popular back in the day, like
Mhm.
in America too.
Yeah, they come and go. I haven't seen Stroh's in years. Coors
Yeah.
is still pretty popular. Budweiser's still pretty popular.
Michelob.
Michelob. But
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much advertising to these beers, because they may send me a case of them if that show's popular enough,
Yeah.
and I can't drink it. I'll have to give it to my friends.
Yeah.
Throw a party. So what happens is, but then I think what happened was I'm gone for a few years, and then when I come back, the microbreweries, people are starting to make their own beer, and that's good. And then
Oh.
they make it the way they want it. And also, for some reason, homemade beers taste better than in the can, or it goes
Mm.
down smoother. You still get drunk,
Mm.
but but what happens is, so that it went rather smooth down. But just my dad never drinks, and I think I said this once before, but he saw someone at a dinner drinking Guinness,
Yeah.
or it wasn't
Guinness.
Guinness, it was like Guinness, it was a stout. He
Wow.
said, "Are you drinking cola or something?" And he goes, "No, no, no, this is beer. It's like a stout. Here, try some." And so he took a sip, and he told me it was the worst tasting thing he ever tasted in his life,
Oh yeah.
because he's not a drinker.
Wow.
When you know when he drinks, like at Passover or somewhere, it's that sweet wine, which tastes good.
Yeah. I like the sweet one.
Yeah, Manischewitz or Mogan David, or
Yeah.
even the other ones like, you could get port or sherry, or you could, can be very fancy, Madeira, like the
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Have some Madeira, Madeira.
Yes.
They're Spanish wines or Portuguese wine,
Yeah.
and then when I was a kid, what was very popular was Boone's Farm,
Oh
apple
yeah.
wine, uh, Tickle Pink, all this stuff, and we thought that was great wine.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody made a joke like on a TV show, whoa, why? How come on the wine list they don't have Boone's Farm? And everyone would laugh. And I said, well, yeah, why not? Why don't they have it? It's good stuff. For
My mom
buck
told
50, it's a great wine.
my mom told me that she used to drink it when she was a teenager,
Yeah,
and she got me to try it. And that's pretty good,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Trouble is when you're a kid, if you drink any wine at all, you have to drink the sweet wine.
Yeah.
When I say wine, drink it, I mean a sip of it. Usually your parents will let you have a sip of it. In France, they actually give it to their kids. They
Oh.
think it's better for their kids to drink wine than soda. Just full of sugar. They may have a point, but let me tell you, I remember there was the GATT treaty a few years ago where where the French were upset about all these embargoes, trade embargoes on their stuff, and also they actually protested in the 1950s Coca-Cola getting into their market. They wanted they said you're upsetting our wine market and everything. So I remember watching on the news, they interviewed a man in the street in Paris, and they asked him, "Well, what do you think about all this, and all these trade embargoes and everything on Frenchmen?" And he said, "Yeah, I don't even have enough money to buy wine for my kids anymore." And he said it seriously. My mom was always telling me when I was a kid that there are people in this country that give their kids wine before they go to bed so they'll sleep soundly, and then they sneak off and party all night at the nightclubs.
Yeah.
We don't do that because we're better people, but I bet you your friends' parents do that. I said, yeah, I wish my friends' parents did that so I'd be left alone at the night to myself, watch cartoons and not have to go to
Yeah.
bed at what? Gosh,
Right.
some people go to bed so early. I remember having to go to bed. I remember Mom wanted me to go to bed at 7:30 once, for a week, like the first week of school, like fourth grade or something. I said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to bed at 7:30. Be wide awake for like 4 hours before I fall asleep.
Mhm.
I'd always want to stay up late to watch like the Dean Martin show or Carol
Yeah.
Burnett show or
Yeah.
something good.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson show.
Yeah.
And she begins and so then I had to say, listen, I go to I get good grades in school. I don't have to go to bed at 7:30. So
Yeah.
then I think it was moved to 8:30, and then eventually moved to 9. But at 9, I think at 9 o'clock, uh, parents of the day did not want their kids. They didn't want to see their kids anymore. They were sick and tired of their kids.
Yeah.
Your children are sort of like house guests that are
Yeah.
complaining about everything.
Right.
They
Right.
don't like what's on television. They don't like what the dinner tastes like.
Yeah.
Lobster again?
Yeah. Same old song.
same old same old
Same
junk.
old, same old.
So anyway, so uh, so so uh, so enough about food. I'm hungry.
Me too.
Why don't we have something to eat, and then we'll come back and do the second half of the show.
Okay. We're going to take a little break and we will be back as soon as we can. God bless you.